What's it like having all of your family together?
It's wonderful. I was just telling this lady down the street, she wanted me to run her lawnmower, and I said, well, I'd rather play golf.
Grandma, go on record and say who's your favorite kid.
I have no favorites. Everyone. I love my children. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. Each and every one the same. They're all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful children.
With great variety, Mom.
Yep, a great variety.
Diversity in our family makes it strong.
What?
The diversity makes it strong.
Yeah, the diversity. Okay.
What do you think about the year 2000?
What?
What do you think about the year 2000?
Well, I don't know, honey. I hope I make it, but I'm not sure what I think about it. I hadn't really... I mean, I don't know. It's just another year, as far as I'm concerned. I hope I make it. One thing that'll have to be changed is the date on my tombstone in the cemetery. You know, I didn't think I'd make it, I guess, to 2000, so it's...
So you put 19 already on the gravestone?
Yeah, it's already on the gravestone. Yeah, we were talking, the last time we were over there, we were talking about that, yeah.
So what do you want when you die, Mom? What is it you want from your family?
What do I want?
Yeah, after you're gone and you're not here to keep people.
I've got my Mass all planned. My friend in Elmira died, and she has a beautiful prayer card. It's a mother's, the magic of a mother. I'd never seen one like it before. And I want all my kids, boys and girls, to participate. All the oldest boys, I guess, to be pallbearers. And I want everybody to have a happy time. You know, the rosary that we had when Dad died, you guys got with roses in it?
Mm-hmm.
I've still got it, but I don't want you to get roses, get carnations or whatever.
What color?
I don't care what color, really. Just,
what's your favorite color?
My favorite color, of course, is green. Yeah, you can have green carnations, can't you?
So when were you born?
I was born in 1918, honey.
Whoa. What's your first memory?
My first memory of
anything?
I guess all my first memory was probably the first house that I can remember very well was up on 6th Street. I can remember my dad bringing home Eskimo pies every night. And then we moved, we rented up there, and then we moved down Mom and Dad bought the house at 116 West 4th Street and remodeled it. And I remember all the good times we had there. Remember my best friend, Mary Kester. And then there's Mary Herring and Betty Tunney.
What year did you graduate from college?
1940.
What do you remember? What did you do in college?
What did I do?
Well, tell what you did.
I was interested in sports. I played basketball. My father, and in those days, a short person, I was very fast. And my father would give me 50 cents for every basket I made, honey. They used to come down. Yes. They used to come down to the games quite often, and I loved basketball. I loved all sports, really, always.
You played tennis?
Yep.
You skied?
Please?
You skied?
Well, we skied, but not like you ski today. I mean, we went down the hills nice and slow, you know, right over at the end of 4th Street, that big hill. I don't know if we used to go over there and ski, but, you know, we just go down very... you might call gently, but not like you kids ski today. Huh?
How'd you get back up the hill?
Walk.
Took your skis and walked up?
Sure, picked up your skis and walked up. I can remember having a pole to walk on the skis with, you know. Ice skated. Dad and I used to ice skate. We loved ice skating. We used to go down, when we were going together, we used to go ice skating down on the lake down at Denison Park. And then we'd go up to Cuca Lake, and quite often it would be frozen enough close to the shore that we could skate.
Where was
And
your first date?
my first date
With Dad?
with Dad, a blind date
Ooh.
at my junior prom in Elmira. And he had been was home, and one of the Elmira girls got me I had a date from Cornell for the whole weekend, and at the last minute, I guess, maybe the day before, the guy didn't show, he couldn't come from Cornell. So Anna Mae Birmingham got me a date with Daddy.
No.
And he worked at at that time he was a busboy at a barbecue stand over in Southport. And we had a very nice time. And then I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks after that. I didn't really like him at first because all he talked about was the Phi Delts. He was in Phi Delt in high school, and then he talked about all the parties that they had at Notre Dame, you know. But then, in a couple of weeks, he called me. We went out again, and then we kept going out, and he had a real nice...
Where did he ask you to marry him?
When?
Where? Where you
Where?
When he proposed to you?
Oh, at Christmas time, 1942, at home. We had been to midnight mass. We came home. He had his red ring, and we entered married. We talked about it, of course, for a while.
When did you get married?
We got married in 1942. Oh, in fact, this Sunday, it will be about 60, it would have been about 60 some years.
You were married in 1942, July 11th, right?
Yeah, July 11th.
So what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal? Steak. And I can't steak and French fries and I can't eat steak much anymore. I have to cut it all up in little pieces to chew it. But
what do you like to cook the best? What did you, of all the meals that you've cooked, which one did you think you did the best yet?
Well, I always think I make good homemade vegetable soup. In the wintertime, I still make it, you know, from scratch. And Chuck likes it, and Kathy likes it, and I usually give them some, freeze some. In fact, I think there's still some in there. And I like to cook. I used to like to cook spaghetti, of course. But who was it? Well, we had spaghetti, you know, when you kids were growing up, once a week. And
Thursday?
Roast beef, huh?
On Thursday?
Was it Thursday? I don't remember
Or
which day.
Wednesday.
And on Saturday nights, we'd always have hot dogs or hamburgers. Remember that? And fish sticks. You kids all like fish sticks on Friday.
Yeah.
And remember, we used to buy steaks from the butcher over on Hurdle Avenue. You kids would go over and pick up. He put steaks from the counter at the end of the day. He'd put them aside for us and save them. And we'd always get a big roast of beef.
Where was the first place you worked?
What is it?
Where was the first place you worked?
I worked when I was in high school. I worked at a movie theater. Cashier, you know, I can remember that every Saturday afternoon. Tom Mix, who was the other cowboy? Tom Mix and who was Gina Jones? What was his name? I can't remember. And that was our Saturday afternoon pleasure in those days, going to the movies. There was 2 movie houses in Corning. And then we always had groups. We had a lot of fun in groups, you know, going to each other's house to houses. And I loved going to Mary Kester's, or Mary Kester, no, she was Mary Krebs, because she was one of 7. I think they always had so much. And then going to Betty Tunney's home. She was one of 11. Well, no, 12 actually. See, her father was married twice. No, he had 8 kids. He had 4 by the first wife and 4 by the second. Betty was the youngest. Betty was the second youngest of the second family. And they had so much fun. I loved, because I was so lonesome. And my mother and father were, of course, very protective of me. They would never let me stay overnight, usually at anybody else's house. And I used to love doing that, or borrow anybody's clothes. And just like, but we always, every Sunday we went to Rocky Ford.
In the summer.
Please?
In the summer.
And in the summer, and they would let me take a friend with me. Well, they would let me, but it was, you know, they were, so what was my mother, 42, I guess, when I was born. And
what did your mother do? Did she go to high school?
No, she didn't. Either my father didn't either. They both,
what did they do in those
after
days?
she got, well, I think she went right to work. She worked at the,
At 14?
well, I don't know what she really first did. She worked in the perfume, or what would you call it, the beauty cosmetics, and she and Dean in Elmira. And then
And how did she meet
Emma
Grandpa?
worked in,
How did she meet Grandpa?
she met Abby Beck. Do you ever remember Abby Beckwith, honey? Abby Beckwith was a friend of Dad's, my father's first wife, Margaret McCullough. She lived right by in Corning. And she brought my mother up once there, and that's how they Margaret McCullough. And they were married, and then, well, after Margaret McCullough died, my father and Frances went back to live with his family. Both my grandmother and grandfather were alive then. And then when my mother was take Francis, I think he was 7 or 8 years, but he had lived with them. He didn't want to leave, so he never came to live with us. But he was mother, and she was nice to him, and he always gave her Christmas presents. He married Betty. And Betty was very conservative, of course. As you know, you kids used to work for her, I guess, and she'd give you 25 cents, wouldn't she? And so after that, no more Christmas presents. From Francis, yeah. And of course, my father never believed in Christmas presents. I mean, he said he gave when people wanted, or when the kids needed something or wanted something, then he gave. Remember when we used to go to Corning, he'd buy at Custer Brown, I guess they were, and then my mother would use a dress up at Rockwell's, and We always had a great time when we went to Dad would take you up to Dan's Dairy. And Ray McElroy would take you to
the historical
lake. Take you over to Santa Cruz. Yeah.